you see, somehow the world will change. You guys didn't hear it, but he just did the 5, 4, 3, 2 thing. So for those of you who were born at a very specific time, I have the stream. I just come onto the stream on my phone to type into the chat and say we were coming.
Or what?
So my voice is now playing from my pocket. Hi, guys.
All I gotta say is at least we know the audio sounds good.
It does. It sounded quite crisp, I will say. Yeah. Maybe that's what we should do from now on.
Welcome back to the illness lodge. Our girlfriends are sick, and soon so shall we. Soon so shall we be. I know how to speak.
Okay. All right. So
it would have been a great joke if I was able to get it out in time.
We went to Tennessee, and it screwed up our entire lives.
It really did, shockingly enough.
I had to write this week's video in 2 days. I succeeded.
I had to edit that 2.5-hour video in about a day.
Oh yeah, so that's one of the fun parts. The video that just came out on Friday, Aiden edited that entire thing on Thursday for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, I did a little bit of it on Monday when we got back in terms of getting things together.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the problem is that I knew we filmed a lot for the Polly Melton segment, and then I was like, okay, we're definitely not going to film that much. We didn't film as much, but only by about a quarter less.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, all of those segments were as long as you saw, and it was a lot.
I feel like we probably, there's about 10 to 15 minutes of footage that could have been included additionally on top of everything.
Only B-roll, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I used pretty much anything.
Wow.
Anything we said was generally in there.
Okay, yeah. There was, most of what I was thinking is stuff we shot on the way out on Polly. Or on the way, into the woods. As we were heading out there were some parts that didn't make the final, which is fine. That's what I mean, is there's material that we did not include.
Yeah.
That video is, I think, now our second longest, because Donner Party is still longer.
Yeah, which is shocking to me.
Yeah. We are, I'll admit I'm a little more worried about it now, but the plan is still to do the Donner Party trail next year, and I'm hoping that that'll be cool enough that that it does better, because this video did not do as well as we had anticipated.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Definitely not going to make that money back.
No. Absolutely not making any of that money back. But we did get to experience some stuff, financially, bit of an L. But in terms of our work, I feel like we definitely learned a lot being down there. I'm a lot more confident with my conclusions on the cases from the Smokies. And I gotta say, having been down there, there's no mystery for most of them, which sucks because that's not as fun. But I am excited. We're gonna have Nick from Missing Enigma on next week to talk about Dennis Martin and also Jordan Grider, because we got interested in Jordan Grider because of him. And he did some interviews with Michael Bouchard, who was, the kind of the chief, not chief investigator, but the guy who was doing the work on Dennis Martin over the last couple of decades, who's written a couple of books on it. So we're going to have him on to talk about that. But I think, what I wanted to use today's episode for was just kind of recap what we did down there and also answer questions, which I've seen a number of them flood in. So honestly, I'm fine with this being more of a Q&A stream than anything.
Yep.
If you want to just start diving into it. But, is there anything, I guess, first before we run into the question section, anything particular that stuck out to you while we were down there?
So, I wanted to ask you some questions, but I guess, right off the bat, I think it's a lot of the time when we cover these cases, both in our initial thought process on what might have happened to an individual or where they might have gone or what the situation might have been, and in a lot of the comments we'll get, there is this air of well, it doesn't make any sense. How could this person have gone missing?
Yep.
This doesn't add up. It's a national park and whatnot. And it's then once you're there, both from when we went to Alaska and this trip, it's Oh no, you just have to be there for like 5 minutes and realize, oh, it's way easier for people
Yeah.
to get lost or even just off trail or even turned around on a trail,
Yeah.
which we think happened to Haig.
Yeah. I mean, with Jeff, it was like looking at the map, you're kind of like, how do you mess this up? But then once you're out there and you're hiking and you've gone downhill for half a mile and you see that it's starting to go back uphill, you're like, oh, I can see how if you were really tired, especially after, I can only imagine if we had left Spence Field and headed half a mile down that hill, only to realize we were going to have to go back up and we were going the wrong way, I too would have been like, oh, can't I just take a shortcut?
Especially after the day we had at that point.
Yeah. So, I mean, I get it. I can see how you put yourself in that position and you're exhausted enough that a shortcut seems like a good idea. And then you get out there and it's impossible to really put into words how treacherous that terrain can be. Because there will be spots where it's just, you're walking along and suddenly there's a cliff on your left.
Well, there was the one bit in the Trenny Gibson case where we're walking down to the section we were going to film at, and you almost fell on camera.
Yeah.
Like you slipped on one rock, you were able to catch yourself.
Somebody wanted to see a compilation of every time I almost slipped, which I don't think was that many times.
No, it wasn't. I'm amazed considering I kept looking back at the camera to make sure you were in frame that I didn't slip more. Yeah.
Me too. Yeah, but I mean, Amanda proved that a person could very easily go and hide.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I think I was a little worried you were going to slip and hurt yourself. You almost wiped out.
I tripped. My hands did not hit the ground.
I know.
It was fine.
But yeah, out there, it's you look at a map and you look at pictures and then you go. And with Trenny being a great example, on the map, it really does look like, you go off, that it's almost impossible to get off of this trail. And that's how it's even described.
Yep.
Is they're like, I have no idea where she would have even gone off. And it's like, the search didn't start for about an hour or two after she was last seen. She didn't need to still be in the woods. If somebody hurt her or if she ran off on purpose, there was a way to do it. Which, of course, the Park Service isn't going to assume that. They're going to exhaust every option. And I think what you end up with is, in cases where nothing at all is found, the idea of an intentional disappearance has to be considered. Because, again, from where she was, if she had gone up the Forney Creek Trail, for example, she could have gotten herself way out of there real quick. She could have waited for everybody to pass and then headed back down, because there's a number of different places you can go from the Andrews Bald Trail, especially if you're just working your way down the mountainside. Had she gotten behind her entire class and then just skirted around and up onto the AT, yeah, makes sense. What was the one thing that I didn't really get into in the video is the scent trails. But then again, dogs can be wrong. So
it does seem the more cases we cover, the less consistent dogs seem to be.
They're great tool. They've found a lot of people, but they're not always spot on. And if we talked about the idea that maybe this Robert Simpson guy did something to her, that he chased her, or that that he murdered her, the dogs trailed her up to the Appalachian Trail and then down a ways. And then, if I remember correctly, it basically was like east along the trail and then south to the road, and then she disappears. So I think, I wish I had thought to mention that in the video, just because I think it would have maybe cleared some things up as to why I was so open to the idea that she disappeared intentionally. I also don't necessarily think that Robert Simpson has to not be involved that way either. He could be the one that picked her up from the road, but it seems like somebody picked her up from the road at some point. So how, why, who knows? Did she mean to disappear? I don't know. Do I think that it makes sense for her to intentionally disappear and leave all that money at home? $200 in 1976? I don't know, but I don't know. Just that case, I don't think she's definitely not still in the park, you know? And whatever happened, it wasn't Bigfoot. It wasn't feral people. She went to either she went off trail and hiked up to the dome, or she hiked past the dome and then off onto the trail further and got into a car.
Well, so that leads me to my follow-up question on Trenny specifically is, I know you covered it in the video, but, you know, do you want to go into any more about Bobby Simpson and your suspicions on whether or not that is the case?
Yeah, so with Bobby Simpson, it's a little bit different. I think his involvement makes sense. Looking back on it, I'm not sure that his involvement makes sense in the way that was said. I think Bobby probably was involved in her disappearance in some way. I don't know that it would have been that he deliberately kidnapped and killed her. I think maybe he helped her escape would be a possibility. You know, we have these cigarettes that are found. He disappears for a little while too. So I think there's plenty of reasons to believe that Bobby was involved. I don't know that there's plenty of reasons to believe that he killed her. And then, of course, you know, if he did, well, why was her scent up at the trail? Were the dogs just wrong? It's possible. But then also, how did he... I mean, the one thing that was said was that he hid her in the bottom of Klingman's Dome Tower and then came back for her body. When, though? Like, when would he have done it? So I think Trenny is one of the cases that I don't know that I'm ever going to be... I'm never going to feel confident about the answer on that one. I feel confident that she's not still in the park and that she did not die in the park after getting lost. I don't think that's what happened. But beyond that, I don't think it's really possible to say. Yeah, but you want to see? I see a lot of super chats coming in.
Yeah, we'll run through some of them.
Oh boy. Okay.
Okay.
Wait, where is it? Oh, there we go.
That one.
Okay. Hi, Lilith.
Oh boy.
Thank you for saying hi. That was so sweet. I told your mom I'd say hi to you, so here we go. Which camera am I looking at?
I don't know.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Hi, girl.
We met one of our longtime subscribers, Faith, grabbed some dinner with us down in Tennessee and brought her absolutely adorable 5-year-old?
4, I think.
4-year-old?
Yeah.
Yeah, so cute. Aiden did some, immediately went into dad mode.
Oh, yeah, I don't have any children of my own, and it's been a long time since I've been around a child that young. So, ever since I, was a child, generally. And then I suddenly had the realization of, oh, yeah, no, if anybody harmed this child, I would slaughter a lot of people.
Yeah, it's like I would destroy an entire village over this.
Yeah, at minimum, yeah. Yeah, it's shocking how you get to a certain age, and dad mode just kind of kicks in when you see a small child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like I must protect this child.
Yeah.
Oh. I worry about it, honestly.
Yeah, why?
Well, I don't know, because I think about it. You know, if somebody were to harm one of my future children, I would not take it well. I would not handle it well.
Yeah.
And you know, we don't get into it on the channel much, but I'm not typically a violent person.
No.
When I am, however.
Here's the thing, though. In that scenario, Gary Bouchard was absolutely justified, so...
You mean Gary Boucher?
Boucher, yeah.
Bouchard was Michael Bouchard.
That's it.
Yes, there we go. Yeah. Oh, no, he was totally justified. That was not only justified, the man was a hero.
Yep.
Why, Gary? Why?
Why?
Yeah. Actually, Jody commented on our episode of that show.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah. He and I had a brief conversation, and then I realized, I was like, wait, you're Jody Plauché.
Yeah.
He went to Penn State.
I think they had him on the show.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah. He went to Penn State.
That's wild.
Yeah, we are. But I see many chats. So
Gom sent us 5 parts
Thank you.
that are all not questions about the trip. So we'll get to those later.
okay, are they what I think they're gonna be?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, at least we know.
Yep. Gaius Rex following up on Gom's wondering about the 2028 candidates.
Oh God. Oh no.
Dopamine Farmer for Canadian 699 says, I had my Bible as literature university class, and your weird Bible on Job and Jonah helped me study.
Oh, awesome.
Thank you, Pity for the Gourd Brothers.
I'm glad that was useful.
Yeah, likewise.
I wish I'd had that when I had to read Job in high school. You know what, actually, while you go through those, I'm gonna find something as we do this. But I'm waiting on you. Go ahead.
What for what?
Just to read stuff. I'm
Okay, well,
finding something though.
speaking of Faith and Lilith, Faith commented for $20 saying thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Finished Friday's video, quote unquote. We were talking to one of our other subscribers, and she says, "I'm no groupie. I am an original and grandfathered in member of the non-cult ranch, not subscribed." Tinku. I guess I can subscribe. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I am
You
shocked.
weren't subscribed?
Yeah, that's the thing, is I'm shocked that you weren't subscribed prior. Confused even.
Yeah, like, okay, I'm not mad. I'm just confused.
Yeah. JMO is saying that the milk floweth, and I am its voice. The Herald of Darkness can make you go zerk. The cure is milk. Let the milk into your life, and peace may come. Yeah, milk's good. Agamemnon's gym bag for $20, saying, video was solid, friendos.
Thank you.
Go grab a gallon of milk and watch it.
Hell yeah.
Pumpkin Bear 7, hey Pumpkin, for $2 says, getting over food poisoning. I wish you luck, lads. Thank you very much.
And sorry about the food poisoning.
Yeah, it's never fun. We seem to battle that more than we'd like to, or at least I do. Probably because I frequently let food go bad in my fridge, but we'll ignore that. Anyway, the Mangled Wither for $20 says, howdy there. I've been taking things day by day, hoping things will get better after last week. I don't know when things will turn around, but I know they will someday. On another note, I got myself a replica 1861 Colt Navy. That is awesome. We had an entire argument about this in the car. Yes, we did. On the way back from Tennessee, we were working on a new outline for a new feature that we're probably going to write within the next 3 to 5 business years. And I said to Mattis, I was like, my only request is that one character has an 1851 Navy Colt, open top conversion specifically. And his response was,
dude, it was late. What did I say?
you were essentially just like, why?
Yeah.
And I was just like,
I got to the point where he said it, and I was like, okay, why? Like, you need to explain
Yeah.
that. Like,
And I was
why,
just like, 'cause-
why is this character using this specific thing? Like, if I think exactly what I said was, that's fine, but if we do it, you need to explain why.
but then my counter argument was, well, are we going to have explanations for what breed of horse they each ride?
Which there was no standard horse breed being ridden by Pinkertons.
True.
And also, yeah, we could have a discussion.
I think this is where your proclivity to write novels is creeping.
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
This is why I will probably enjoy writing novels more than I will enjoy writing screenplays.
Here's the thing is, you'll write the books, and then I'll write the screenplays of the books. And it'll all work out.
Who's going to write the erotic spinoff? No, actually, yeah, no. Good point, Gabby.
Yeah.
Gabby Bell, if you're watching this, you're in charge of writing the 50 Shades of Grey to our cowboy movie.
Sounds like a horrible idea.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess that's just Brokeback Mountain, now that I'm thinking about it.
Brokeback Mountain 2.
What? Broke Mountain? What? Huh?
Brokeback Mountain 2. Snowstorm Boogaloo.
Oh, God. Brokeback Mountain 2 Sasket Boogaloo.
Ooh, now we're talking.
Yeah, we're on the way there, and I'm like, it would be sick. A movie about some Pinkertons hunting outlaws who get attacked by Bigfoot. And then we ran with it, and it got way more convoluted.
Well, see, because this is the problem when you write specifically if you're two people writing, which it's more efficient this way.
Oh, yeah,
because
much
you ask
more
each other the questions, but every thought you have, you then have to rip to shreds to make sure the logic makes sense with the rest of the story. So that was the majority of the last 3 hours of our ride back from Tennessee.
Yeah, it was like, how do we make all of this make sense? Because we needed to explain why the Pinkertons were called in instead of the U.S. Marshals. Realistically, the reason is I just wanted a movie about Pinkertons.
Yep. But because the audience will not accept that, we had to create a whole convoluted mess of, well, it's because they were, former Army guys that were gone AWOL and they went up into Canada and the RCMP.
It actually ended up being a really cool concept once we were finished with it. But I got to look something up really quickly.
Also, next question's from Ellen at a Howler Werewolf Queen for $10, specifically asking us what our thoughts are on the Polly Melton case because it really stumped her.
Give me 1 second. I will answer that.
You're good.
I just really quickly wanted to get one thing. We just said the audience will not accept that they just hired the Pinkertons instead of the U.S. Marshals. And then it occurred to me that The Rise of Skywalker made $1.077 billion, and the entire plot was based upon the line that somehow Palpatine returned. So I guess it turns out you don't need to explain anything.
Not if you're working at the House of Mouse.
Yeah, so what we need to do is get Disney on board.
Yeah, I feel like
Disney does enjoy touching my stuff, but that's not the point.
I feel like it would get very PG-13 very fast.
I feel like me trying to write films for Disney would be my own personal hell.
I think Bob Iger would personally shoot you in the head.
Yeah. I want to write a story where somebody barbecues Mickey Mouse.
I think you can do that now.
I can do that
public
now.
Domain.
Yeah, it's in the public domain. We can write a story where Mickey Mouse gets barbecued.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to take your kneecaps. Yeah, see? But yeah, so Polly Melton, though. I don't know. It's, again, I see no motivation for this woman to disappear. She is 58 years old. She is on her third marriage. Her father is, not far off from dying, nor is really her husband. She has a sister who she cares about and seems to love. So, she's kind of living the life, too. Like, she spends her winters in Florida, and she spends her summers at this campground near the Great Smokies. From what everybody says who knew the woman, she really loved her life as it was. Juanita Baldwin, in her book, which again, she ended up getting the Robert Simpson thing right. That was real, but she never sourced it, which is why I didn't believe her, and I only believed her after I got this email. But one of the things Juanita said, and to Juanita's credit, she did not do a good job of explaining what her sources were. It seems like she probably did interview some people. Like, she did go and try and talk to people, so she might have gotten some firsthand knowledge that other people didn't have. But one of the things she said that, once again, had no actual source to it, was that there was a man at church that had been flirting with Polly, and maybe she was running off with him. But from what I understand, nobody else in the area strangely disappeared. Which would suggest that whoever she ran off with was somebody who wasn't from the area. In which case, where did she meet this person, and where did she go, and why? Also, based on the pictures of her we found, she wasn't this wasn't a, 50 is the new 40 kind of deal. She looked old. She looked like a grandma. I look at her, and I think about the fact that my mother is also 57 now, or at least about to turn 50. She's either about to turn 57 or she is 57.
Wait.
She's turning 58, I think.
I'm sure she's so pleased about you talking about this.
She was born in 68. It's 24. So she's about to turn 58. Right? Because 60 years ago... No, yeah, 56. You're right. I'm just bad at math. Am I? Wait, am I bad at math?
I'm waiting for the comment to show up.
It's 1981. She was 58. Okay, anyway, point is, my mother is around the same age and does not look nearly as old as this woman.
There you go.
Was my point that I was trying to get to. Like, this woman looks 20 years older than my mother. And yet she was the same age. So, this, like I said, as we passed another older woman on the trail, if you're doing human trafficking, 57-year-old women who look like they're 75 aren't really in vogue.
Do you like the fact that I was able to leave that?
That was
in there?
beautiful. She was really chill about it, too.
The wild thing is that she was in her 70s, and she certainly did not look.
Oh, no, yeah, that woman... Somebody, like, on the video was like, it's crazy how you guys passed, like, an actual 57-year-old woman. It's like, no, that woman was in her 70s.
Yeah.
This is what I mean, is Polly looked like she was in her 70s, the way people in their 70s look today.
Well, I think people are just aging slower.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Also, smoking a lot less.
Yeah, that helps.
I think I think that is a huge part of why people look younger now. We don't smoke nearly as much. There's no smoking in bars. There's no smoking in hotels. There's no smoking within 20 feet of a lot of buildings.
I can't imagine what the world smelled like 50 years ago.
Cigarettes.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, like, have you seen the pictures of old, like, stadiums?
Yeah, and all the
like,
blue
70s?
haze is
Yeah.
just cigarette smoke.
It's insane. Like, I can't imagine, like, going out into the woods and actually, like, think about it. The cigarette smoke, also all of the smog in cities. Like, it was probably a huge difference going from a city into like an actual national park.
yeah.
Like, now it's still really nice, but back then it was probably otherworldly.
Well, it's crazy to think about because, like, you look at, like, Philly on a hazy day, and it's like, it's a little misty over there, but I can still see everything. And then you go and you look up pictures of Philly in the 70s, and it's a cloud.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a brown cloud.
Yeah, no wonder everybody of a certain age is dying of cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do wonder what the microplastics will do to our generation.
I think it's just going to make us stupider.
That's what they thought about lead.
They were right.
Yeah, but then it also gave people cancer.
So it'll make us stupider and cancerous.
There we go. Got the microplastics in my bloodstream. Hell yeah, brother. But no, so with Polly, I look at it and she doesn't seem like she would have been a trafficking victim. I just don't see it. If it's somebody kidnapped her and it was somebody she knew, there certainly weren't any suspects. I mean, and again, like, why kidnap a 58-year-old woman? She didn't have money. There was no ransom demanded. Like, all the reasons somebody would kidnap someone weren't met. There was one person asked, well, why, did you consider a serial killer? At first, yeah, but there were no other victims in the area at that time. Like, because what you have to understand with serial killers is very rarely are they opportunists. It happens. But if they are opportunistic, it's usually, like, for example, I was thinking about doing a video on the guy, but there just wasn't enough information. I think it's like the I-70 something killer. Guy, like, same guy. They had a whole, like, several witness descriptions of this person. Went in to little strip mall stores along this interstate. I think it was I-70, but I might be wrong. But goes into these little strip mall stores along the interstate with a .22 caliber handgun, shoots a woman, and leaves. And it happens like 6 times across like a 1 month span. It's like really, really tight. There were a few other ones that people thought might have been him, but nobody knows for sure. But every single time, with I think one exception, it was a woman with long hair who worked at a store. Except the one exception was a guy who was shot, they think, from behind because he had long hair and a ponytail and might have looked like a woman. So you've got all of these matching things. It's opportunist. He's not stalking these people. He's stopping into random strip malls, and if somebody matches his victim profile, he kills them. It's an opportunistic killer who is still has a niche of who he goes after.
Well, and the key there being multiple victims.
Yeah. And in this case, yeah, we do have multiple people who disappear in the park. What's the likelihood that the same person is behind Polly Melton's disappearance on a well-paved trail down at the south end of the park in North Carolina, and then also responsible for the disappearance of a 16-year-old girl at the top of the park, the literal highest point in the park, 5 years earlier, in a completely different kind of area? I mean, these are much more rugged trails, much more rugged terrain. It's much harder to get out of Klingman's Dome in a car, even on foot, because you got a lot more distance to travel. And that would be like the only one that compares, because yeah, there's other cases during this time period, but we were able to generally figure out what happened to almost all of them. It's really just Polly, Trenny, and Dennis who can't be accounted for. And I mean, 7-year-old boy, 16-year-old girl, 58-year-old woman. What's the connective tissue?
Very little, if anything.
So it just seems very unlikely that the same person is responsible for all of these. And then again, we have the confounding details of, like, dogs weren't able to track Polly at all. Like, at one point they thought they might have tracked her a little bit, but it led to a dead end. Trenny, dogs tracked her up, across, and down to a road. Dennis, they have no idea. So I just don't see I don't see a connection. And in order for it to be a serial killer, there almost has to be a connection between these people, or at least, you know, similarities. So I don't know. I don't see it.
Yeah, fair enough. Local Legends Burton Moran has been a member for 5 months. Thanks, dude.
Thank you, sir. We had him on last week.
And was great fun.
Great conversation. You
Really
go
was.
check it out. Check his stuff out.
JMO's asking us to look into the phenomenon over Nuremberg in 1561.
Oh, if I'm not mistaken, what he's talking about, there are a few references and artistic depictions to there being what appears to be like multiple suns in the sky, or a bunch of like glowing lights in the sky.
Interesting.
It's often considered to be by UFO enthusiasts an early depiction of, or a medieval depiction of UFOs. What are you looking up?
Something slightly different.
Okay. But yeah, so that's I'll probably look into it. I think that would be a fun, like, UFO sightings through history.
Yeah, that would be cool. Especially considering all of the recent UFO talk again popping up.
Yeah, and I mean, it's most of what gets talked about is Roswell on.
Yeah.
So, you know, examples of what people believe used to be UFOs.
Yeah. Well, and also all the new declassified stuff and all that. All that.
Somebody did ask if I was going to look at that, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm not usually a UFO person. But then again, Ashton Forbes isn't a VFX person, and he has opinions, so.
Yeah, it fits.
He'd be so mad if I started doing UFO content and it did well. He'd be so mad. That's a good enough reason to do it. Okay, you guys win. I'm doing it.
Incredible.
I hate grifters.
Miss Maury's asking what the most sus and least sus case was of the Great Smoky Mountain Cluster.
Of the ones we were able to get to, I mean, Polly may be the most sus.
Yeah.
Of the ones in the Smokies.
Even more so than Dennis?
So Dennis is weird for different reasons. It's not weird that Dennis got lost. It's not weird that Dennis wasn't found.
Yeah, because he was a 7-year-old.
It's weird that the FBI intercepted Harold Key and told him, hey, do not tell anybody what you actually saw. And then he changed his story completely from what he had told the papers. That's weird. Like, so yes, suspicious, but not in a how did this person disappear kind of way. I think inside of the park, it's probably Polly. Because again, you were there with me. I don't know how somebody could get lost there. You almost have to have intentionally walked away.
Yeah, either that or somehow fallen off the trail at one of the high
Yeah.
points and not been found somehow.
Mm-hmm. And also, there were some people in the comments who were saying, oh, well, that area was a little bit more wild in the 80s. Yeah, but the contemporary reports describe it as being very similar to how it is today. So, was it probably a little bit less manicured? Yeah. Did it seem like people at the time understood how you could go missing there? No, they did not. They were like, what happened? How do you disappear? And all I can think of is that she deliberately went off trail or took a different trail, and then the question is why? And I don't have a good answer for that. So I think Polly remains one of the more mysterious ones. Trenny's is weird. I feel like it's impossible to say what actually happened, but it's more because there are several likely possibilities that seem kind of equally possible to one another. As far as overall, Michael Real. It might be that there's just a piece of information, like if he were to come out and be like, oh, well, I was up at the rhododendron gardens at first, and then I walked down along the road, and before I got to my campsite, I walked off into the woods, and that's how I ended up where I was found. If I sat down and he told me that, I'd be like, oh, okay, that probably makes sense then. You were sighted at the rhododendron gardens, you took a wrong turn, and you ended up down there. Got it. Cool. But he didn't say that in the interview. He explained a whole lot of other stuff, but it was never explained how he was at the rhododendron gardens and then didn't make it back. Because he even says at one point in the interview, he's like, that he could see where his campsite was. He just couldn't get there. And I'm like, how? Why? Why not? So that one's definitely weird. As far as the least suspicious, though, I think Hansen.
Really?
Actually, no, I'm going to take that back and I'm going to say Jeff.
Yeah, I was going to say, I figured it was going to be Haig.
Yeah, because with Haig, we know about the fight. So we know there was motivation for him to go a different way. With Hansen, we don't know how much of it is Ben Fish's fault. Because Fish is the only one who made it back. So he's saying, oh, yeah, I offered to stop at the one shelter. I offered to go back to the other shelter. And, Mark wanted to press on. He could be right. Mark could have just not wanted to seem weak and insisted upon pressing on further and further. Or it could have been that Ben was like, no, we can make it. Our friends are going to be waiting for us. We got to get there. And he got him into a situation like what we had when we were half a mile from the Spence Field shelter, where it was dark. Like, had we been several miles away, that would not have been a safe or smart thing to do. It would have been better for us to, hunker down in the woods and hope for the best. So, I don't know. With Hansen, I think chances are it's very explainable. It's not suspicious at all, and it was just bad decision making. But there is the possibility that that's not what it was. That it could have been something more sinister. So I think, yeah, looking at everything, Haig is probably the least mysterious. Although an honorable mention would be Evangeline Lorimer, because what were you doing?
Yeah, that wasn't suspicious. It was just weird in the sense of like, why?
Every once in a while, you got to remember that it could just be that the missing person is weird.
And ironically enough, there are a shocking number of cases in which that's relevant.
Yeah. We're just like, oh yeah, this person was just odd. Like, if you told me that somebody disappeared after they went on a horse trail, but they brought a hobby horse instead of a real one, I'd be like, I am not shocked.
Yep.
This was weird from the jump. This didn't make sense from the get-go. Like, yeah, I don't know how it would necessarily be connected with what happened, but I would not be shocked.
Hanlon's razor is very relevant to what we cover.
What's that?
Never attribute to malice what you can attribute to stupidity or ignorance specifically.
Yeah, in this case, I think we need Hanlon's shaving kit.
Yeah, 100%.
We should need a line of shaving kits.
We do.
Yeah.
Should we talk to Manscaped?
We should talk to Manscaped. Maybe they'll give us some facial stuff instead of other stuff.
There we go.
What?
Anyway, moving on.
Listen, I recovered from a really almost bad thing that I said, so it's okay.
You know what? And you recognized it before you got even halfway through it, and that's what matters. All right, we got to
I can't win in this lodge.
Yeah, we do. I got a whole case like a month ago. We just ripped through it.
Oh yeah, we are some thirsty boys. Actually, no, we're not. I am. What the hell is wrong with you?
Me?
This man drank less than 2 liters of water on our way up to the Spence Field Trail Shelter. It was a 6-mile hike covering over 3,000 feet of elevation gain, and he drank less than 2 liters of water.
Yeah,
He drank like a liter of water.
Yeah. I don't know. I never really drank a lot of water. Just like period. Like in high school and stuff, I wouldn't really drink water until sports started. Like for the whole day. So
no, I don't drink a ton of water at home, but when I am out in the world, I am chugging that stuff. Mm-hmm. I drink fluids. It's literally water.
yeah, bubbly's fine.
Bubbly is water.
Yeah, but also it doesn't really count.
What? Because it's bubbly, I don't get hydrated?
No, you do get hydrated, but I feel like your heartburn is worse because of the carbonation.
I think it's the coffee.
It's a combo.
I
Anyway,
just drink a lot of coffee and alcohol, and my tummy don't like that.
it's almost like your body's asking you to listen to something.
No.
But listen.
This is the microbiome. I am the macrobiome. The microbiome listens to the macrobiome.
Apparently not.
No, it does not like to do that at all. Been quite angry with me recently.
Apparently it really does need to go the other way. Well, Burton is congratulating us for being so thorough. He said, "My hat is off to you guys. You really put in the legwork, and I look forward to more adventures. Hope to join you on an excursion at some point. Good work."
Thank you. Legwork is certainly the right way to put it.
That
Oh my
is.
God.
That is the right term. That is the right terminology.
We could not walk. We got to a point where it felt like if I walked any further, my right quadricep was actually just going to tear itself in half.
Yeah, dude was full on Dr. House limping the last half mile of that trek.
Which is okay now because Faith gave me that cane.
And it's just so funny. You're just going to have to bring it on all hikes.
Yeah, I'm just going to have to bring my cane on all my hikes. It's actually really cool. It's got a little Grand Lodge of Tennessee flag and American flag next to each other. So our Grand Lodge of Tennessee, I don't know what, like medallion almost that's set into the handle. So it's really cool. Was very grateful for that one. Looking forward to showing up at the next meeting. Just dripped out to the nines. Everybody's gonna be like, why does the second youngest member of our lodge have a cane? And I'm gonna be like, because I'm cool like that, I guess. We also thought about starting up a house parody about our cases, wherein I just am Dr. House, but it's missing 411.
It would have to be a Patreon thing,
Yeah.
primarily because we literally don't have time to do it.
No, we do not.
So, but we're hoping to hire someone to start doing some editing
It'd be so nice.
because we realized last week when Stakui and Roman Helmet Guy were in town that if we really want to start doing all of these other channels and shows that we have, I can't also edit when I'm running cameras and on camera.
Yeah.
So
It's not great.
no. So we're gonna be looking into that. We'll see if it happens, but
I am so excited for this new show.
it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time.
For those of you who are not aware, we are launching a new history-focused show with Stephen Bell from History of Everything and Roman Helmet Guy. It is, first of all, we have a lot of interest from guests. Like, Stephen was able to just go above and beyond with finding potential guests. We have a few really cool people lined up. But more importantly, it's basically take unsubscribe and make it about history. It was the same kind of thing. And it's a lot of Steven and I just arguing with each other about things, and then immediately gushing over Harold Hardrada. It's going to be a good time. I'm really excited about it.
Yep. And then Roman Helmet Guy and I are just kind of like poking and prodding them to get them to argue more. It's really entertaining.
Also, Roman Helmet Guy has some really cool books. I'm going to go grab them really quick.
Go grab them. Go grab them indeed.
Well, they're right over there.
While the books are being grabbed, I will say the next super chat from Kirby is for $10 saying, off topic, but it's something I was thinking about. What do you guys think about hydrogen engine conspiracy theories? Like the governments are silencing inventors. Is there any validity to it? I have my thoughts.
So I do too. You would know more though.
All right. Well, let's show off the books first, and then we will get into the conspiracy theories.
I'm wondering if you and I are on the same page.
Yep.
Because I think we might be. So yeah, but I really quickly want to whip these out because which camera? That one? Which
that one?
There we go. Ah, shiny. So this is the Pirates book.
Yes.
And this is the First Crusade book. Now they look very similar. They're very pretty, very nice leather bound hardcovers. These are not books that are, written on a topic. This is not Roman Helmet Guy sat down and wrote a book about pirates. What this is a collection of stories about pirates written by Captain Charles Johnston, Captain Charles Johnston is a pseudonym. It's not a real person, but was probably a member of the pirate world who was writing about these things from personal experience. This book has been out of print. There are no recent modern copies of this book. And similarly, with the Crusade book, it's the First Crusade, this book contains nearly every single first-hand account of the most pivotal event of the Middle Ages. Within these pages, knights, peasants, priests, and a princess describe in intimate and often conflicting detail the harrowing journey, brutal battles, bitter infighting, and divine revelations that gave birth to an era. So, once again, first-hand accounts that have been out of consumer print for decades and decades, in some cases hundreds of years. So really cool, not just as, a fun read, but also if you are into history, be it as an academic or as a amateur enthusiast, fantastic resources. Right now, they are only available through Roman Helmet Guy's TikTok shop. We'll probably be offering them on our TikTok shop as well. But as things get up and running, we're looking to offer these through YouTube and possibly also help them get set up with a website. So that is something to be aware of. I just, again, would highly recommend going and picking one of these up and giving it a read. Also, if you got anybody who's into history in your life, perfect time to get it for them for Christmas.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And I do want to say also, this was not a paid endorsement of these books. He did not ask us to do this. It was just, they're good books.
Yeah.
It's a cool thing. I love my primary sources, so I am psyched to have these.
Yeah. And I can't wait for him to do more as well. Because, the Pirates book itself is a book that I've wanted to pick up for ages, but because it's out of print,
it's so expensive.
It's so expensive. They're really hard to find, and the ones that exist are so expensive. So to be able to have primary source data like that, essentially, in such a beautiful format.
And at a reasonable cost.
It's like dream come true for me, and I'm sure even more so for you.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so the hydrogen thing, the conspiracy.
Yeah, so my two takes on that are, if it is being suppressed, it's not by the government, it's by the oil companies.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's being as suppressed as some may claim it to be, primarily just because the safety factor of hydrogen is pretty low. Everybody can make the joking reference to the Hindenburg, but specifically, gasoline is a flammable liquid.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that hydrogen at room temperature is a gas,
Yeah.
and like pretty intensely so. Like, gasoline's vapors come off pretty. It's pretty. What's the word for that? Its tendency to convert from liquid to gas
Mhm.
at room temperature is pretty high.
Yeah.
Hydrogen, on the other hand, is multitudes higher. So if you have a car accident with a flammable gas that is even multitudes more likely or more capable
Mhm.
of becoming a gas or transferring to a gaseous state
Mhm.
at the ambient temperature, and it also has like essentially a higher thermal efficiency
Mhm.
within that combustion, poses a much greater threat to collateral damage in automotive accidents or in any other vehicular usage of it.
Right.
So I think that's part of the reason people haven't really looked into it as much. However, hydrogen fuel cell technology, yes, I would not be shocked if the oil industries are specifically shooting that down.
So what's the difference between hydrogen fuel cells and hydrogen engines?
So to my understanding, hydrogen fuel cells don't use combustion. It's almost like, and I'm going to bastardize this a little bit here, but you know how like osmosis and reverse osmosis works for like desalinization and things like that?
Mhm.
So it's like a similar process.
That's also how we decaffeinate coffee, by the way.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, osmosis.
Interesting.
You put coffee beans into water, and then some of the caffeine leaches out into the water, and then you put coffee beans into more uncaffeinated water, and it just over and over and over, which is why your decaf coffee tastes weird and moldy.
That makes sense.
Yep.
So yeah, to my understanding, it's a similar process like that. It functions more like a battery than a combustion engine.
Okay.
I don't know the specifics of the ins and outs of exactly how that fuel cell works, but theoretically it's essentially a different form of battery that essentially would be a combination of a battery and like an electric generator in the same
Right.
breath. But yeah, that's my take, is that in terms of combustion technology with hydrogen, it's looked down upon because of the potential for hazard.
Mhm.
And then hydrogen fuel cell, I think it's just difficult to get that to enough of an efficiency level for it to be viable. But those who find a way, I would not be shocked if they are being put down by oil.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I don't see, like, is it possible that there are government agencies and government bureaucrats and politicians that are going to try and find a way to suppress it? Yes. Why? Probably not the government. It's not like a national security thing or a control thing, a power thing. It's that oil companies essentially can own politicians. Really lobbyists of any kind can own politicians. So the oil company, the renewable energy lobby, even the nuclear industry probably aren't going to be super excited about hydrogen fuel cells. I think the most at risk, though, is the oil lobby, because cars right now run on fossil fuels. Even if you have an electric car, it is likely being charged by fossil fuels, by a coal plant, by an oil plant, by a natural gas plant. So I think that, if there is suppression going on, it is the oil industry funding studies that are anti-hydrogen energy. It is the oil lobbies, basically funding candidates who are going to be anti-hydrogen energy. And you're probably going to see something a lot like what happened with Tesla, where he's basically just, shoved to the side because the people who are in charge of the industry have that kind of power. I don't think it's a government-oriented conspiracy. It's just the oil companies not wanting to give it up, which is why my idea with, how to handle oil companies was give them a few years of unfettered access to what they want, and then take all the tax revenue or not even take all the tax revenue, just be like, all right, use the extra money for R&D because 5 years from now, you got to go nuclear. Basically be like, you don't get to be solely an oil company anymore. You must start building generators. So that's my feeling about it. But I don't think that there's some high-level government conspiracy to stop you from a hydrogen engine, because it just doesn't make sense, It doesn't make sense that would originate with people who are power-hungry in government. What are you doing? We're looking at.
I agree with everything you said. I'm trying to figure out what the word is that I'm thinking of, because I don't know if
Fuchsia.
No, it's essentially it's something's proclivity to evaporate quickly, and I'm trying to figure out what it is. If Kat's in the chat, she may have said it already because she probably knows exactly what
Well,
it is.
doesn't her tote hurt?
Her tote does hurt, but at least she can type. But yeah, I mean that's also yet again another instance in which it is more than likely a topic in which Hanlon's razor is appropriate, because, again, anytime you think something is going on that's fishy, it's generally along the lines of chaos or incompetence, not overwhelming organization from an individual or group, because one is way more common and way more capable of being done than the other.
I'm like eyes and yes.
Yes. It's not vaporization. I can't. It's. There's another word for it, and I'm really upset that I can't think of it right now. But for now,
It's not. We're we're more than halfway through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The One Bearded Hammer is a new member. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gaius Rex for $9.99 says, after we fix Thornbury's boat, we can start building our fleet of 18th century sailing vessels. Can't wait to try and source cannons that haven't been made in 250 years. Here's the problem. I would love to have a fleet of 18th century vessels. The problem is if you start indulging me in that, I'm going to start planning it.
Well, here, listen. So we keep talking about the ranch in Wyoming or Montana, right?
Yeah.
And you keep talking about how you want water,
Yes.
like boat level water. I think you should be okay with the fact that it's within a 4-hour drive. You have different thoughts. I get it. But the only reason that we haven't considered Utah is that the Mormons are already there. But if we have a fleet of 18th century warships, I think we stand a chance of shelling Salt Lake City and driving the Mormons out.
We do. The only downside is that would mean that then we would have to have them in the Great Salt Lake.
Yeah.
Which is rapidly evaporating away.
Unevaporate it.
How?
Unchange the climate.
I'm down for that. I think we should also look into carbon capture. I think that'd be badass.
We take our captured Mormon slaves and we send them to Lake Tahoe and we have them steal the Californians' water.
What if instead of Montana, we just did this in Maine?
Cold.
Yes, but here's the problem is that I like the cold.
How are we supposed to raise cattle in Maine?
Won't be that cold up there for long.
That's a good point. Man, the land's probably so expensive, though. Also, I don't like their laws.
If our community's big enough.
Here's the thing. There's not enough people in Wyoming to tell me what kind of guns I can and can't have.
Fair, but depending on how many people join us in Maine.
We'll consider it.
Wonderful.
We'll consider it.
Moving on.
There would be good fish.
There would be great fish.
Mm-hmm.
And I would be able to get us a bunch of fish.
And clams.
And clams. And lobsters.
Lobsters.
Fresh lobster.
See, that's the problem with Maine, though, is you're very close to Massachusetts.
Yeah, and then we can use our 18th century warships to go rightfully steal the USS Constitution.
So what I'm hearing is that we need to capture New Jersey first.
Are we slowly becoming new founding fathers? I hated that. This is why we can't have a live audience.
Not the founding fathers, but the daddies of Dominion, perhaps. That could work.
This is what gets us canceled.
Yep. Not Mormon slavery. That just we just
No.
breezed by that one.
I was going to touch on that, but yeah, I was too.
The Mormons are pretty good sports about it too. Yeah, they fought I think not the Comanche, the Paiute, no, the Ute, one of the tribes. They had a war with one of the tribes over slavery. They were on the anti-slavery side.
You know what's wild?
What?
I'm not surprised, but I'm a little befuddled, if not shocked, at how much aggressive support we're already getting for another Tea Party and capturing New Jersey and all that fun stuff. Like, yeah, that was fast, guys. That was real quick.
What do you think the response would be if you sailed a fleet of ships of the line into Boston Harbor? Do you think it'd be like, oh God, not again?
No, I think most people are so historically illiterate, they would have no idea what's going on until a cannonball took
We'd
their
have
head
to
off.
have Royal Britannia blasting. All right, so we got to partner with JPL to get the world's biggest Bluetooth speaker.
The other thing is, are we going to be armed by our friends down in Texas? Because that's probably going to sway the tides pretty heavily.
I think we got to do it the right way. It's got to be muskets.
So you want to lose?
It's Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Have you seen their gun laws? We'd win.
That's fair. You would think after the false flag event that occurred there, they would have learned.
False flag event?
Yeah, the Boston Massacre.
Okay, I'm not even going to entertain that one. Go to the next question.
That's a little hint for what's to come on History Unhinged.
Yeah, we had one of the episodes, just to give you the context. One of the episodes began with the question, was the British Empire justified? But we decided that was too broad and also too easy to answer. Because in many cases, no.
But not all?
And then we had a discussion about whether or not the British Empire was justified in the way in which it ruled the American colonies, and if the colonists were justified in having a revolution. And then Stephen got very upset when I whipped out the notebook and started going through all of the many different taxes. So that'll be a good episode.
Specifically, hey, that's cheating.
Yep. And I was like, we did not establish rules.
Yeah.
There were no rules established here. I just happened to take a master's course on this, and you didn't.
Yep. Yeah, we're giving a little bit away about these shows, but as you can see, they're very entertaining, especially for us.
Wait till you see the Drunk Folklore episode.
Yeah, that one.
When's that one coming out?
Considering we're nearing the end of this month and it's going to be hectic, especially with Thanksgiving next
It's
week.
going to be a December release?
Yeah, I think it's going to be December.
I think that works because it can also serve as hype.
Yeah, that was my thought too.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be a nice little Christmas present for everybody.
Yeah, I think we should get it put up and also release some regular clips on the actual History Hut channel.
I agree.
Or it's not History Hut, History Unhinged.
History Hut Juniors. Kind of like Weenie Hut Juniors, but with history.
History Hut Juniors.
All right, we unloaded, so now I got to scroll.
Yeah, YouTube does not like this computer.
It really doesn't. It's probably because I've been frying it for 3 years doing all the editing that I've been doing on it.
That's fair.
The next one is from Rabid Space for 1968. Love the specificity. Saying, hey guys, I'm glad you didn't disappear on your trip, although it would have been pretty funny. Glad we didn't disappear, but it would have been funny if we did.
It would have been funny.
Yeah, it would have been very apropos of the situation. Also, Sid, I have no idea how you chat anonymously. I am sorry. Monkeyman911 for $9.99 says, update on the 63K10. I live in Wisconsin, so the mud daubers have been dead for a while, but you'll never guess how I found them. Fun fact, they can detach the stinger and it will get infected. Interesting. I'm not entirely sure what that meant.
It's a wasp. Mud daubers are wasps.
Oh, great. Oh, that's fun. Oh, that's fun.
They're wasps that are like as wasp as it gets too. Like they have this tiny little, the fourth part of their body, where their head and their eyes and their stomachs and all that. And there's just this like long little connective piece and a stinger that is the size of the rest of their body.
Oh, joy.
Yeah.
Speaking of truck updates, my engine showed up today. So really excited. Got to stop by the shop and see it. Looks
Where do you and I have to
great.
go tomorrow?
Oh, we're going down to Chester to look at some parts for my truck to see if to see if it's worth getting them to add into it, beef it up a little bit.
Yeah.
We're doing it after we go to the bank. Since we're already going to be out that way. It's kind of.
Not really.
We won't be here, and we'll be somewhat closer to there than we would be if we weren't going to the bank.
Yeah. I'm trying to decide if I'll feel nice and safe and secure going down there with my 45, or if I might want to also bring the pew pew, the big pew pew, like an armored truck.
Understandable.
Chester's not a safe place, guys.
No, not even close.
Chester's a terrible place.
When I told the mechanics this morning that I was looking at a couple parts that are down there, that he was literally like, go during the day and bring a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, guys, if we go missing, it's probably not going to be in a national park. It'll be in Chester, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Yeah. Wish us luck.
Swear to God, Aiden. Which car are we taking?
I was hoping yours.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah. I'm not that stupid.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, we're not driving a
No.
black Camaro into Chester.
Like I said, I'm not that stupid.
Yeah. We're taking the beat up old Jeep Wrangler that they won't even want hubcaps from. Oh boy.
We keep things interesting at the lodge.
Yeah. Pray for us.
Sergeant Buck has been a member for 2 months, and Allie Simeon for 617, but love the specificity, says, hey y'all, been having a rough few weeks and listening to your old vids has helped me so much. Thank you and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
We much appreciate it.
Glad
I'm
you're enjoying it.
glad that it's bringing some positivity. Pumpkin Bear for $10 says, I know I mentioned this case a while back, but there was a severed head found in a local park back in May. Maybe worth looking into. There was also a human heart found in a salt factory case.
Maybe we need to go back to New Orleans.
Maybe we need to go back to New Orleans.
I will not be eating the gumbo.
I thought you were going to end that gumbo slightly differently.
How?
Gummy.
No. No, dude, I know it wasn't the gumbo that made me sick, but whew, I was not doing well down there.
Yeah, no, we know.
I was not
I felt
good.
so bad.
I was... The worst part was because I was so sick that one day, I couldn't work, so I had to miss out on all of the tourism. Like,
Yeah.
I did nothing in New Orleans but work.
We didn't really do a ton of
You guys
tourism,
did spend a day down there just walking around and shopping, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it wasn't like...
We weren't in like New Orleans. We were still in Manville.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just went around a few of the shops, and then I died the next day. I don't know what the fuck you guys did. I was out of it.
Yeah, we went to like a knick-knack place and then got like some candy and then came back.
Did you patty whack?
You know what? And also,
Mm-hmm.
we did in fact give a dog a bone.
No way.
But I'll tell you where I was shocked.
Mhm.
Old man's still not home.
Yeah, well, it happens.
Agamemnon's gym bag for $2 says, missed the RuPaul Tyson fight. Who won?
Both of them, America lost, though.
Did you hear that though?
The RuPaul?
Yeah.
Yeah, I caught it.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure. Yeah, I was annoyed at first, and then I saw Tyson's comment where he was like, I almost died in June, so I was just glad to get back in the ring. And then I was like, oh, so this was just like, this was a nice thing to pass the torch. All right. Still don't love Jake Paul, but
Is that the right person to pass the torch to?
you know what the sad part is? It's the only person to pass the torch to right now.
What do you mean?
Jake Paul basically single-handedly revived boxing in the U.S. because everybody got so invested in UFC.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Nobody's been paying attention to boxing for years now, and all of a sudden now it mattered. Like now everybody just watched a boxing event last Friday because it was Jake Paul and it was his company who got it going. So like, for as annoying as the Paul family can be, like they're clearly very good, businessmen and women.
Yeah.
And yeah, they got everybody interested in boxing again. Well, the Serrano-Taylor fight certainly got me interested in boxing a lot more than the Paul Tyson
Really?
fight.
I didn't watch any of it.
Oh yeah, those women absolutely murdered each other out there. It was insane.
Yeah, that's okay.
It was a great fight.
Just the way you said it.
Well, compared to the other fights of the night where people barely touched each other, they really just fucking.
I know. Was there? I wish I had saved it. I saw a really funny fake Joe Rogan thing today that that reminded me of it. But all right, what we got next?
Ella for $5 says, "If you have I have an idea for you. Sound of Freedom, but it's Star Wars." I think this might be a movie idea.
Wait,
Suggestion?
read that again?
Movie idea, or at least an idea for you. Sound of Freedom, but it's Star Wars. Didn't they kind of try and do that with The Last Jedi? Vaguely, like in the background?
It was like briefly suggested, and then they took it nowhere.
Yeah.
Because I think Rian Johnson forgot that like he was writing the middle movie of the trilogy, and he did not coordinate with J.J. Abrams.
It amazes me how one man completely derailed an entire trilogy.
Well, to be fair, the first movie was mediocre as it was.
It was, but at least they were setting something up.
Yeah, and then it just... I don't know what the thought process was there.
I know. He said it. Rian Johnson specifically
No.
said, I wanted to subvert
No, I know.
expectations."
I mean, from Disney's end.
Oh, yeah. That was one moment where studio interference probably would have benefited everything.
Yeah, if they had been like, hey, Ryan, you need the story to at least make sense with JJ's plot.
Yeah.
Because you can't just suddenly write a new movie that doesn't have anything to do with the other movie.
Yeah.
Also, Force Ghost Luke was the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, and the Salt Flats fight?
Like, everything about the sequel trilogy is just, hey, remember all those things you loved about original Star Wars? Well, what if we did them again, but worse?
It's literally just the original trilogy, but worse.
Yeah.
And it's a shame, because Rey could have been a really cool character.
Finn would have been a great Jedi.
Yeah.
That would have been a really cool story. Hey, look at this stormtrooper who was kidnapped from his home as a child, just like the Jedi basically used to do. And then, forced to fight as a faceless, nameless soldier for this evil, even more evil version of the Empire, only to turn around and revive the Jedi Order with the help of Luke Skywalker.
Yep. Also, there's no reason both Finn and Rey couldn't have been Jedi.
In fact, it would have made a lot of sense.
Yep.
Would have made a ton of sense. But no, we had to get weird, Force incest love story that culminates in the only cool villain in the sequel trilogy dying.
Yep.
I really hate Rian Johnson. I don't care that he directed Knives Out and that it was a decent film. I don't care that he directed an episode of Breaking Bad. Especially because that episode of Breaking Bad took place entirely within the meth lab.
Was it the Fly episode?
Yeah, it was the Fly episode. Which,
we should have known.
That entire episode did not need to... It could have been a scene. All of the, all of the symbolism and metaphor and intrigue that took place in that hour of television that didn't advance the rest of the plot of the story at all could have been covered in 10 minutes. In fact, it happens in numerous other episodes of Breaking Bad. Yeah. Where they managed to fit the exact... Because Vince Gilligan created something really cool. Like, that show, we were watching it through. This is my second time through. Like, the number of moving parts and how everything ties together, and some of the, the deeper symbolism, the way that they tell the stories about how Walt and Jesse and everybody are feeling about things, and they do it in a symbolic and veiled way without hitting you in the face. It's incredible.
Yeah.
I didn't get it the first time I watched it through. I was like, the first season was brutally slow to get through on your first watch. And I think, it probably benefited from network TV being one episode a week. We're starting to see shows are much more fast paced now that streaming is a thing. that, you have shows dropping 10 episodes at a time. They're written more like long movies than they are TV shows. Back when you had network TV, different. And Breaking Bad, it's a masterpiece. It is a masterpiece of a show. Like, the only thing that I don't like about it is that, like Beth on Yellowstone, Skylar is just an unbelievably unlikable character.
Yeah.
She's not as bad as Beth, but she is unbelievably unlikable and irredeemable. There's nothing good about this woman.
Even the sister's terrible too.
Yeah. She's not as bad.
She's not as bad,
yeah.
but it's shocking how many like terrible women characters are in that show.
Yeah. I think, and I will say, like, I think that the way they invert things, because at the very beginning, Dean Norris's character, Hank, is awful. Just bad person. Yeah. Like, he's not unfaithful to his wife, but he's not, he doesn't exactly, keep his eyes on the prize. He is rude. He is abrasive. He sees being in law enforcement as, giving him the right to be a bully. And as the show progresses on, you see him not necessarily be redeemed. He doesn't go through a massive change. He's still an asshole, but he comes around. And you start to see that, like, at his core, this guy is doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, he was a warrior without a fight.
Exactly. And then he's given a fight, and he takes that fight to the end. Walt, on the other hand, good guy, has never done anything wrong. His wife cheats on him. Like, Skylar had cheated on him before the show even starts. And also, if you consider that a spoiler, it ended in 2013. I was in high school. I am a grown man who runs a business. You've had time.
I'm not gonna lie, I totally forgot about that part of the show.
What? Skylar cheating?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so I mean it's terrible. But yeah, Walt starts off, impeccable character. And then by the end of the show, you're like, God, will somebody kill this man? It's a good show.
And Jesse's story in and of itself.
Jesse is, oh my God, my favorite character of the show by
Yeah.
far. And somehow, Ryan Johnson managed to direct the single worst episode of the series.
But
I want more TV shows to hire Ryan Johnson to direct one episode, because I think if you have a good body of that, it's easy to see that he's the worst writer in modern Hollywood. I think The Expendables, just the one first Expendables movie, is a cinematic masterpiece compared to anything Ryan Johnson has ever produced. They fly away in a helicopter from that island, and Sylvester Stallone's character is, sad because of the girl. And I think it's Jason Statham's character is like, she wasn't your type anyway. And then they just fly off into the distance. And it's like, you know what? That line alone, that moment is better than anything Ryan Johnson's ever directed.
Was it a helicopter or was it the C-130?
It might have been the C-130. I can't remember. I think it was a helicopter, but it's been like 10 years since I saw the movie.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think the last time we watched that movie was when you, myself, Norman, Tommy, John, all were in your basement watching it literally a decade ago.
Exactly. So
we were sitting in a diner and we should go watch Expendables.
Yeah. we should go watch Expendables again. That's what we should do. But we should also finish our super chats. So we should.
Yeah, we do have a show to finish. Mr. Sleepless Owl for $2 says, "How would you suggest getting back into the faith?" Joke answer: watch Weird Bible.
I'm like, let's finish out these questions. Help me find God. Yeah, I mean, but here, honestly, I think Weird Bible is an awesome resource. It's why we created it. If you're trying to get back into it, I think that's a good place to start. I would also suggest, look around your local community. If you can find a group, I think that it's probably best to find a group that is your gender to start. Because when it comes, with Christianity, faith is such an extremely personal thing, and it helps to be able, because it does have different roles for men and women, it is helpful to experience it with a group of people who share that role. So if you are a young single man, probably your best Bible study group is going to be other young single men. If you are a married woman in your 30s, your best Bible study group is probably going to be married women who are, in that phase of their lives. What, you're raising your hand?
Yeah, I have a suggestion.
What is it?
Because some people like me don't want to join a community right away.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally would suggest the Case for Christ,
Oh, yeah.
Case for Creator books by Lee
Good point.
Strobel, because whenever I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I always find that like reading something that's like, it's not reading the Bible, it's not
Yeah.
reading devotional, it's reading facts and kind of going back onto what you learned and were taught
Yep.
as a child.
Yeah, I agree. Amanda's suggestion was read the Lee Strobel books, The Case for a Creator and The Case for Christ, and Case for Faith. I would also say Heiser. Heiser stuff is really accessible, and it'll make you want to read the Bible.
Yeah, the cool thing about Heiser's stuff, even I haven't read much of it, but I have listened to some of the lectures, both some of the things you recommended and some of the things just on my own back in the day, is even from a secular perspective, they make you recognize the interesting elements of it from an almost mythological perspective. So like the way that a lot of modern people look at like the Avengers or like Lord of the Rings or, DC or even like, Greek and Roman mythology, it's like the cool thing about it is when you actually dive deep, because the problem is a lot of the modern churches don't, you realize that there is that level of specificity and interesting characters throughout the book of the Bible that can be really interesting to dive in and, kind of like analyze from a fan perspective almost. And I'm saying that in a perspective of if you're not necessarily sure you totally want to like dive into the whole spiritual aspect of it at first, at least dive into it from a storytelling perspective, because the reason I exist on Weird Bible is for that reason, is to remind people it's like, hey, it's not just if you really want to praise God. It's like, well, there are valuable and interesting stories here to at least be appreciated at minimum, if not respected and followed.
Yes. Sorry, I saw something weird pop up on my phone.
All good.
But yeah, I agree. I think, the storytelling angle can really pull you into it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole reason why historical and moral teachings throughout history have been put to narrative forms, because it is the most engaging way to grasp your audience.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, the next is from Be Kind for $10, saying, having watched your channel for months, always hit the like. Total respect for what you offer us. With my thanks.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. Dopamine Farmer for Canadian $6.99 says, I've been balancing bartending, university, and kickboxing, and your videos in the background have kept me from the depression of it all. Thank you.
Woo!
That's what it's all about, man.
Hell yeah!
If we can bring some light into your day, that is the dream.
Yeah, the whole goal here is entertain.
Yeah.
And inform. But mostly
educate to an extent, yeah.
Infotainment, you might say.
Infotainment.
Entermation.
What do you do for a living?
Infotainment?
I infotain.
Yeah. What do you do for a living?
Bigfoot? What? What?
No, his daughter. Come on.
Incredible.
Hey, there was a whole lawsuit about it, okay?
There was. When are we going to get an update on that lawsuit?
I don't know. Next time Morgan & Morgan wants to pay us, probably.
Yeah. That would be hilarious.
Yeah, no, Bigfoot suing us.
Yes.
For personal injury.
Yes. Satchel Lasky for $10 says, I sent 25 but forgot my message, so I'm sending more. Love the videos, by the way. What were the noises like in the forest? And in your opinion, what are the chances of people getting lost from insanity/fear? I will say I directly commented on this when we were there.
Mm-hmm.
Very quiet.
Yeah, that's the problem. The noises of the forest were not there.
Yeah. There's a few birds, but that's about it.
It was really creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you forget that the forest can just be real quiet.
Yeah. It's and that's the thing is like, when you need to be concerned is when a loud forest goes quiet, not just whenever the forest is quiet.
Yes.
That's when something's not right. If the forest itself is just quiet, the forest itself is just quiet. This was like unsettlingly quiet. If we were not talking, there was not another sound outside of the wind and maybe a bird somewhere.
Yeah.
No rustling of the trees, just dead. And I mean, that's the other thing is like we were deep in there. We did not see wildlife.
No, not really.
We were miles into the park and we did not see deer. We did not see squirrels. I think we saw like one squirrel.
Yeah, a couple birds here and there, but that's it.
We saw, oddly enough, we saw bears, but they were near the tourist areas.
Yeah, they were way less deep into the park.
Yeah, like they were chilling.
You know, that makes sense because they probably go into town and steal food from there.
Yeah.
So they
Well,
would.
they do.
Yeah.
Faith was saying they were, when we were all in Gatlinburg, and this is before we pulled in, there's just a bear walking down the road.
Yeah. So they hang near the people. So why would they go deep into the park?
Yeah. I did see a comment somewhere today where somebody was like, it's actually a misunderstanding that black bears are less dangerous than grizzly bears. More people are attacked by black bears. And I was like, people are attacked by black bears more frequently, but encounters with black bears are less frequently negative than encounters with grizzly bears.
Yeah, the reason they attack more is because they're around people more often.
And people are not smart about it. You know, when people see a grizzly bear, they don't approach the grizzly bear. People will get close to a black bear to take pictures of it. People will offer it food. People are like, oh, look at the cubs. Black bears live near people far more frequently than grizzly bears do. They are a much more wild species. So it's one of those things where it's like, ice cream causes drowning. No, there's more people at the beach when it's hot, and people eat ice cream when it's hot. So
that's the reason I love statistics.
Yeah.
When I look at it, I'm by no means a statistician, but it's little correlations and causation differentiations like that are just so entertaining.
Yeah, it's like if you see a black bear out in the woods and you don't approach it, unless it's desperate for some reason, it's not going to come near you.
Yeah.
If you see a grizzly bear, however, and you make eye contact with it, it might just decide it hates you.
Yeah. I mean, I've personally been in the woods by either myself or with a couple of friends where, we are very near a black bear and it is just immediately very afraid of us and runs.
You are not prey to a black bear. You are prey to a grizzly bear.
Correct.
You might be a nuisance to a black bear. You are prey to a grizzly bear.
Yes.
Yeah.
The next is from Satchel Lasky again saying, for $25, my $25 got refunded, but I wanted you to have it anyway.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. After that's JMO for 501 saying, soon more people will be luring in the lodge, than live in the state of Vermont. This is because for Milk Celebration, that will make Dionysus himself.
Oh, no. Wait, really quickly. What is the smallest state in the Union?
It's got to be Rhode Island, right?
By population.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Rhode Island.
Rhode Island's dense. It's Wyoming.
Is it Wyoming? Is that population density or population overall?
Population overall.
Really? What's next?
I don't have a list.
Okay.
Vermont. Wyoming, Vermont, Alaska, North Dakota, and then you're never going to believe this, South Dakota.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, no, so here's the thing.
Where's Bert at?
Wyoming has an estimated 584,057 people. The Lore Lodge has 579,329 people. So currently we are only 584,057 minus 579,329. We're only 4,728 subscribers away from having a larger population in the lodge than the state of Wyoming.
Guys, we're almost at the state level. How do we feel about that?
Let's go.
What is the most populous state? I'd imagine it's California.
California.
Do we know how many? Is it like 54 million?
Something like that, probably. I'll look it up.
While you look it up, Kellen gave us $19 to say, when I was 21 plus in 03, I would have an extra pack of cigarettes when going to the bar because you smoked more and they were legit hazy inside than there were smoking sections in restaurants with no physical divider. Yeah, that's nuts. That's actually crazy.
Yeah.
I can't imagine going literally anywhere and not being able to escape the smell of cigarettes.
Yeah, it would be horrible.
Yeah.
It would be the worst. So California is about 39 million people.
Oh, much less than I thought.
Yeah, but still a lot.
Yeah, definitely a lot.
And that's only there's probably more.
Yeah, valid. Moving on. Ryder's a new member.
Thank you.
Jazz Metz for $4.99 says, thank you for getting me through my first lone 5-hour drive where I passed by y'all, Pittsburgh to Warrington and back. Appreciate all that you do.
Wow.
Thank you.
That is a drive.
Yeah. Yeah. Glad we were able to get you through it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Nicholas for $20 says, finally got to see y'all live after binging the podcast. I really enjoy your guys' content and hope to see more of the interesting things that y'all review and say.
Well, thank you.
Much appreciated.
We hope to continue doing this for a long time.
Yeah, just it's all because you guys watch.
Yep.
You let us achieve our dream, so thank you. Rabid Space for $20.23. Love the specificity.
Yeah, brother.
Says, hope you two are having a good night. Have some cash.
Oh, thank you.
I'm having a better night now.
Pays for dinner.
Yeah, appreciate it. Be Kind for $5 says, hooray for history.
Yes.
Indeed. Pumpkin Bears back at it for $5 saying, completely and utterly off topic. I found a local mediary.
Is there any topic really? Is there really ever a
There's
topic?
never a topic here. I will bring you lads to it if and when y'all get back here. They have a subscription box.
Ooh,
Nice.
subscription mead.
I'm in.
I gotta start making mead. I guess I gotta get into it.
That'd be fun.
Gotta make myself some of that Honning Brew mead.
That'd be fun. That'd be cool. Ceaseless Searching for $10 says, thank you for doing all that you guys do. I appreciate how much effort is put into the research. Would you ever do a group trip like Trova Trip? Boy, do we have some news for you.
Yeah, we've been discussing how to do this beyond just doing Trova Trip. We do Trova Trip. We have 2 to Montana next summer. They are both sold out already. But we're going to Yellowstone twice. And then we're going to be continuing to do that. But also, we are working on figuring out a way to do less expensive road trips on our own. So we would basically be like, here's the itinerary. It would be a lot cheaper. It would probably be bring your own tent, things like that. But yeah, we're looking at doing that as a way to make those more accessible to people who can't afford the bigger price tag. Because again, with Trova, those things are over $1,000 before we even are priced in. Like before our cut is even priced into the Trova trip, it costs well over $1,000.
Yeah.
So Aiden and I actually didn't make money on the Alaska one.
No,
It
not even close.
basically paid for us to go to Alaska and nothing else.
Yep. I was actually thinking if we wanted to do these more frequently, something that may be worth looking into is a camper trailer.
Yeah.
Because they're shockingly not that expensive. And I did the math earlier today. If we did as a group,
Mhm.
like 50 nights in it, we've
Pays
already
for itself.
covered the cost of Airbnbs and or hotel
That's
rooms.
true, yeah. That's true.
So
Should definitely consider that.
yeah, it's a thought. Next is from Kellen again for $199 saying Toyota is going hard on hydrogen fueled cars versus EV. Nice. Love to hear it. Kirby for $4.99 says, read the hydrogen conversation. Thanks for the answers. When I said governments, I was thinking because of pressure from oil companies too. Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, yeah, then
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
In that case, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Same thing with nuclear, unfortunately.
Yes,
So,
sadly.
Yeah.
Hey, Josh Shapiro. Buddy, we have ideas.
Abigail Stewart for $2 says, totally not a cult, but it's a cult. Yeah, here's the thing. I keep telling him he has to call it a cult. Otherwise, it becomes a cult.
I still don't understand the logic. But I don't think I ever will. So,
We understand. We understand. And as long as we can get him to accept that we understand, then we'll be okay.
Indeed.
And we'll be safe.
Indeed.
Gumb for $2 says, remember to read my campaign promises, all of them. I don't know if we can.
I will read them,
We just don't know if we can read them aloud.
but we will read them.
They will in fact be read, and they can be read by those watching.
You will see us react to them. That much is for sure, because I have not read them yet.
We'll read them at the end.
Oh boy.
Kellen, the official data for 499 says, "Do you need someone to teach fleet navigation? I'm going to steal the USS Constitution." Yes, please come do it. I will happily be the first mate until I get to captain my own vessel.
As long as I can be Nicolas Cage and say I'm going to steal the USS Constitution, then I'm in.
I think that's why he put it in quotes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
If I am allowed to look you in the eye and go, I'm going to steal the USS Constitution, I'm good.
It's almost a given.
Yeah, good. Okay, we're good then.
War Sage for
Steal the
Canadian
Declaration of
$10.
Independence.
For Canadian $10 says, "Hey, if you guys get the ships, I could go form a legion together from Canada and we could visit DC. Stop making this sound like a feasible idea because it's going to get us excited."
We should move along before I decide to do it.
Here's the problem. We should move along before I decide to do it, and I'm usually the one stopping us from doing these things.
Oh, also just a little thing that I found very funny. You know how I get into fights with people on Twitter. Well, one guy.
I will occasionally check our Twitter and just be like, what the hell has he said lately? And then just go, oh, God.
I'm only getting into fights with people who deserve it. Like, for example, this one guy has, like, his username is, like, Freedom from Tyrants 1776, like, Founding Fathers, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, talking about how the white supremacists are winning and people are starting to wake up. Obviously, he didn't describe himself as that, but he's like, you know, everybody's starting to wake up and realize Hitler wasn't the monster we all were told. And I'm like, no, most people are still pretty much in line with the whole Hitler was a bad dude thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, people are waking up. We have an army of 15.7 million warriors who, and I'm like, first of all, weird number. Where'd that come from? Second, you don't have an army. You have a bunch of basement-dwelling mouth breathers who have their dad's shotgun. Like, come on, man, what are you doing? But the reason I bring this up is, like, the people who are like, I have an army of whatever, and I'm like, bro, I will take any given 7 dudes from, like, anywhere in the Appalachian mountain chain against your entire militia. Like, you're done. So my point in saying this is, in the collapse, our not cult will be able to thrive.
Oh, I have no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I look out at the world and all the other people who are like, you know, it's all coming to a head. I'm like, oh, we have got this.
Yeah, we'll be set.
Yeah.
As long as we have a few, like, engineers and doctors in the mix.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We need some doctors.
Yeah.
We will pay them. We won't pay them. I mean, there won't be money in the collapse.
I'm sorry, is this going to be a communist?
No,
community?
just who's going to be minting dollars and cents?
I figured we were just going to use bottle caps.
That works. Quick question, because I got into a little bit of I received some flack for this. Aiden, Pepsi or Coke?
I personally prefer Pepsi on
Thank
all,
you.
even without the ad taken into account.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because I was like, at the very least, you know, you walk into a restaurant, it doesn't matter which one you prefer. You're getting what they have.
Yeah.
You walk into a Wawa, for example, and there's Coke, there's Pepsi. Bottled, I'm picking the Pepsi.
Yeah, 100%. I remember I did the taste test back when I was in middle school. And I was like, I don't get it. I don't get why Coke is like the number one go-to, because in my opinion,
Marketing.
Pepsi, that's the thing, is Pepsi just tastes better.
It does. It's better.
Pepsi is not the same as Diet Coke. Diet Coke sounds better, the packaging's prettier, and I like it.
That's the other thing. I'm also weird. I was the one who I preferred 7-Up to Sprite, because I thought, like, I love Sprite.
7-Up's the one that's gone, right?
Yeah, it's replaced with Starry now. But the problem is like, for me, I think the same thing was like Coke and Sprite were like too sweet of versions of Pepsi and 7-Up.
Yeah. I think Pepsi tastes more like real sugar.
Yeah.
That's what it is to me.
Yeah.
Pepsi, like Mexican Coke, great. With the real cane sugar.
Mm.
Pepsi to me tastes more like that as it is.
Yeah, that's fair.
Also, they had the world's 6th largest navy for a hot second.
Yeah, that's honestly one of the most baller things that they could ever say.
Mhm.
They should use that in more marketing.
Oh, yeah. They should have just gone to war with Coke.
Yeah, they would have won.
Yeah.
Abigail Stewart for $5 says, I call mud daubers dirt daubers, and they're the most you don't FAFO,
Yeah.
and they won't mess with you. Wasps, I know, plus they have cool dirt nests. Yeah, that might be what one time when Rex and I were doing paintball, we were like hiding behind a log. We just like jumped into like behind this log area.
Right.
And his foot went into a hole, and man, oh man, did he get stung several times. We both, as soon as we saw things flying, just sprinted. I don't know how I escaped unscathed, but yeah, dude got mauled by some dirt wasps.
That's not good.
No, it wasn't great. We finished the game though.
Yeah. Okay. Really?
Oh yeah, 100%.
All right. Good to know. Was this like at a paintball place?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you paid.
Yeah, and we played more games after that too.
Okay, yeah. That's my point, though. It's like, you paid to be there.
Yeah.
I wanna
Although
get
they
back.
had to close that course afterward though.
I want to get into airsoft again. I miss airsoft.
I never actually did organized airsoft.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
I believe it.
Especially because the guns are actually accurate.
Yeah, that's fair.
I know. We're trying. We're almost there.
Pumpkin Bear, sorry, hang wait, almost missed one. Vampire from Pluto for $5 says, Daddies of Dominion, Aiden M, Aiden T, Wendigoon, and Roanoke Tales. Mount Rushmore 2.0 will be glorious. Honestly,
Ooh, I like it.
I'm honored to be on there.
I like it.
Dude,
Also,
someone wants to do a Photoshop version of that. That'd be
just
great.
really quickly off topic. Has Trump appointed a Secretary of the Interior?
Oh boy, here we go.
You can read the next question.
All right, well, to prep us for that, next question is from Pumpkin Bear saying, if y'all come back down, let's take a day that I can show you all the city. That would be fun. Next is from Brandon Mast for 1776. I already like where this is going. Oh, he does. So boats, huh? All aboard. I like that. I like your thought. Anyway, what were you going to say?
Well, since Secretary of the Interior has been taken, I would like to formally announce my my campaign to become director of the National Park Service. No. If Brandon Herrera gets to ask to be ATF director, it is only fair that I get to be director of the national parks. So, here are my platform points. I will pay the Rangers more money.
How are you going to do that, sir?
I will cut unnecessary programs.
Could you name an unnecessary program, sir?
Anything that contributes to the welfare of the state of New Jersey.
What are your other points, sir?
We will improve the park infrastructure so that everything is as nice as the Great Smoky Mountains.
What's your plan to do that, sir?
Cut spending that is unnecessary.
What do you consider unnecessary, sir?
Anything that contributes to the welfare of the state of Massachusetts.
What are your other points, sir?
More Mount Rushmores.
Do you have any names on the short list for this, sir?
Kevin.
Kevin who, sir?
Just Kevin. I haven't thought that one out.
Do you have any final points, sir?
Oh no, actually the real big one though, obviously, those other things are great. The Mount Rushmore thing with just random dudes named Kevin would be hilarious.
Yes, it would.
Just literally random guys named Kevin all over the United States would be fantastic. But the one thing I would absolutely be doing is an utter overhaul of their websites. If I became director of the national parks, you would have the most robust websites anywhere in the government with the most information possible, beautifully laid out, really easy to search, easy to cite, and I mean, just so informative. The entire history of the park. I would be saying we have all of these college students with history degrees who aren't doing anything. Debt forgiveness. You come here, you do a dissertation on the park. We will hook you up with a PhD program. We will pay for your debts, and then you will be good to go. Be like, we are the history of these parks. That's what I would do. That would be my thing. I would be like, we're gonna have the history of these parks so well explained that, I mean, you don't need to go anywhere else. But why should you? Why should I have to go elsewhere but the Park Service website to learn about the park? No, the best information should be right there.
What about the native history?
Oh, that would obviously be part of it.
I know, but you touch on that a little bit.
Oh, yeah, no, I wanted, I would want the full history of the land. So if we're talking about, God, what's a good example? Yeah, let's go with Great Smokies. Cherokee lived there. Well, where'd the Cherokee come from? Who was there before the Cherokee? Why did they choose that area? Why did they leave? Like everything that went into it, I would want to be part of the park's history. I would want to have park rangers on staff who are well educated in it, which means hiring rangers who are historians, as well as rangers who are forestry. We don't, make these robust, make them what they have the capacity to be, instead of, in many cases, having them just be a piece of beautiful federal land that you can go hiking in, and the people who work in these places and protect them also deserve a better standard of living, which is why I like the idea of paying them better.
I'd vote for you. I'm not going to lie.
I thought about actually putting together some platform positions for it. I don't think it would happen, but I would love it because it would also, imagine the marketing for the National Park Service. We'd just be going and doing a new video in a park each week. Be like, yeah, let's go to where Paul Fugit disappeared. Let's go back up to Denali. Let's, go spend a week on the trail in Yosemite. Be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be sweet.
A lot of fun. So I don't know. I thought about it a little bit. It's mostly been a bit of a meme, but no, there are definitely some things that I want to do, and those would be my big three. Would be better pay and benefits for the rangers, better infrastructure in the parks, and better information online.
Nice.
That would be my start. My three main ideas.
Nice.
Before you really quickly move on from that, there was a question in the chat going off of that. Was thoughts on making the parks more accessible to the disabled?
To the extent it's possible, you can't really make a trail wheelchair accessible.
No, maybe just some like rental, like crawler wheelchairs.
Maybe it would have to be. You'd have to figure out a way to do it. But I like the idea.
Yeah.
I just think it's one of those things that you really have to put some work into figuring out how to do it properly.
And there's already innate limitations on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it would be great to figure out. I would definitely be down to at least retrofit a trail in each park to be more accessible.
Yeah.
But then you come into the issue of, well, you can't really build a ramp because then you're screwing with the natural wilderness. But in terms of making them as accessible as possible, yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Next is from Aaron Merlot for $2 saying, free the Ewoks. Next is from Local Legends Burt Moran for $2 saying, I thought the Pinkman movie El Camino was good.
I cannot remember anything that happened, but I do remember liking it.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, once we finish up Breaking Bad, we're probably going to watch that.
Skeletal Commissar for $2 says, Critters of the Lumberwoods video when?
Is that what I think it is? I think it is. That would be a fun one. The only issue with doing folklore videos, which is what I would call that, is that they often do not do very well.
YouTube and our followers on the whole generally do not seem to enjoy when we cover folklore anymore.
Yeah. So we're trying. I'm trying to figure out the best way to cover these kinds of things. I think, but we're also seeing there might be some fatigue on the Missing 411 stuff. So we're trying to figure it out. And we'll see in the future. The hope, once we get to a point where we're getting steadily 500,000 views on every single video we put out, we can do whatever we want. Like, more importantly, we can do whatever you want.
Did you say 5,000?
500,000.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, once we're consistently getting, the numbers we need to see. Honestly, really, even if we could guarantee 250,000 views per video, we'd cover anything. We would broaden out so much and cover all sorts of really cool stuff. But as it stands right now, the last few videos, we had some duds.
Yeah, haven't been great. And that's the thing is with our current numbers, we just can't afford to travel.
Yeah. So we'll see as things develop.
Next is from William Martin for $49.99. Thank you very much. Saying, love the history sections of your video.
Thank you very much. That was very kind of you too.
Yeah.
I am always happy when I have the time to include one. I'm really looking forward to doing one on the Comanche.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Nicholas for $5 says, what is your guys' opinion on cosmic entities like H.P. Lovecraft? I think like in H.P. Lovecraft's.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, are you saying that H.P. Lovecraft himself was a cosmic entity?
You know, considering the stories he wrote, I wouldn't be shocked.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I'll admit I have not read beyond, I think, maybe a short story that I would have read in middle school. I don't think I've read much Lovecraft. Cosmic horror isn't really my cup of tea as a reader. But I mean, the whole idea of there being cosmic entities, I find interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it would function.
You know, this brings up my thought on essentially, may we just be the Earth's gut bacteria?
Are we the Earth's microbiome?
Yeah, like that's the thing is like, is Earth conscious in a way that we'll never be able to perceive?
Well, I mean, at the end of Men in Black, aren't we like living inside of a marble?
I think so.
Yeah.
Something like it. That's the thing is like our gut bacteria, I don't think is aware of our consciousness as humans. I think it's very possible that
yeah, true.
I think it's very possible that the planets may somehow be conscious on a separate level or part of a larger structure that has a consciousness that we cannot perceive because it's too big.
Terrifying thought that each planet actually is alive or was, and now we're one of the only ones that's not dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on.
That could be a cool cosmic
That
horror.
could be a cool cosmic horror concept.
That could be a very unique interpretation of God.
Yeah, true.
So, yeah. HND223 for $4.99 says support for the Pepsi gang.
Hell yeah.
Ella
Gotta get that pilt going.
Ella for $10 says, if you do get back into Airsoft, I would recommend Gun Gamer's production series of events. At their last LARP event, I was the Royal Bigfoot Hunter and ended up overthrowing the local government. That is amazing.
That's fantastic. We are looking at doing some LARP events, more medieval than anything.
Steven is slowly sucking us into LARP.
Yeah, I'm gonna be going down for War of the Barons, and I'm gonna be one of his men at arms.
It seems like I'm going to be a Knight Hospitaller.
If you want to be, there are spots if you want to fight.
Gabby just kind of threw it at me. She's like, do you want to like be in it? And I was like, sure. And she's like, have them message this guy.
I talked to Zan. You could be on the battlefield if you wanted to.
That could be fun. I mean, if you're gonna do it, I mean,
he said if you want to go and do video and photography, then he can have you be a hospitaller.
okay.
But if you want to go and participate, then there's spots left for, I think, the loyalists.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be more fun to participate than just do video. So
And then the next year you could join my barony.
exactly.
Yeah, I'm Steven's half brother. I am a bastard created with a barmaid in Wales.
Yep.
Yeah.
Could be fun. Could be fun.
Totally
All right,
true
we
to
got
life.
two
That's-
more. William Armstrong for 556 says, hello, lore lads. Does ground coffee last longer in the freezer? Excited to get Mount Pocono perk.
I would argue freezing your grounds is not as important as vacuum sealing them. I would, yeah. Cold is not going to preserve them as well as proper sealing is. So the key is making sure that they do not have air flowing over them constantly, because that will dry them out. That will make them stale. If you keep them vacuum sealed, that's your best bet. I will say this much. You know, you're not going to notice the difference unless you are a coffee person. And at the end of the day, you're not going to notice the difference between 2-week-old grounds and fresh grounds unless you're trying them next to each other. Or if you're very accustomed to having them fresh. Is ground coffee, like fresh ground coffee, always going to taste better than coffee that's been ground for a couple of weeks? Yeah. But also, coffee is basically like 15 minutes after it's ground, it no longer is as good as it was right when it was ground. That's when the changes, like the oxidation and things, start to take place. So unless you're consuming your coffee within 15 minutes every single time you've ground it, you're really not losing much between 1 day and 2 weeks.
Makes sense to me.
But obviously, the longer it goes, it's not going to be as good. But no, keep it in the bag and just make sure you press all the air out of the bag, because that's how the bags it comes in work. or put it into a glass jar, something that doesn't, with a glass lid, something that doesn't have airflow coming through. Those would be my suggestions. Freezer's fine. It's just cold isn't as important as seal.
That makes sense. Last one before we have to read Gom's stuff from the beginning is Allie Simeon for $2 saying, New Jersey I can understand, but why Massachusetts?
I don't know. I just kind of picked a New England state out of a hat. I'm still kind of mad about the Patriots.
Yeah, it's valid. All right, get over here and read
Oh, God.
Gom's stuff. Not out loud necessarily, just read.
All right. Hang on. Okay. I'm going to find a way to read these.
I'm going to be entertained.
I got to think about it, though. See,
It ain't easy.
oh, boy. Yeah, it's the Wendussy that I'm trying to figure out how to not say.
Well, you did just say it.
Yeah, I'm trying not to say it 18 times.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. I mean, the more important part about it is the voice, right? All right. If you vote for Wendussy Sludge 2028, these are my campaign promises. We will give every citizen of the USA a Wendigo for their own use. We will give all ATF and IRS agents to the Wendigo. We will secure the border with Canada using romantically ambidextrous Wendigo bodyguards. We will annex the Toronto Peninsula of Canada, reducing the population by 20% and making Michigan, a great state of Michigan, a 3-peninsula state. The Wisconsin could never take the Upper Peninsula. They don't have the balls. They don't have the balls. I know it. You know it. We all know it. Detroit will be sold to Mexico and become a Mexican colony. Jimmy Carter will be appointed to the Supreme Court. Oh, there's more. There's more, folks. Justin Trudeau, Fidel Castro's son, but that's none of my business, will be unalived on a Lore Lodge podcast. They haven't committed to that yet. I don't know. We'll see. Perhaps if I make him director of the national parks, he'll allow it. A 50-mile-wide strip of Canada's west coast will be annexed from Washington to Alaska. It's only proper. From the river to the sea, as they say.
Oh, that's going to get us in trouble.
That one might get us in a little bit of trouble.
Uh-huh.
Oh, boy. What we got?
That's the last one.
All right. The rest of Canada not previously mentioned will be sold to Japan. I have plans for Cuba that YouTube won't let me post, but it involves nuclear weapons and it becoming an island of radiation. Only cockroaches, folks. Only cockroaches in Cuba.
We have to get Detroit out of the hands of the 1% of the 1%.
Knew Bernie was coming. I knew we were getting Bernie out of it. Oh, boy.
Oh, he's too good. He's too fun.
This was... Well, I'm just looking through the rest of the comments.
The only thing Washington knows how to do is lie.
What was that supposed to be?
Bernie.
Oh, okay. That was
The only thing Washington knows how to do is lie.
That's Bernie like 10 years ago.
That's Bernie when he's being quiet. That's Bernie when he's on the One podcast.
Can I get Bernie after he's just eaten a Hot Pocket that's a little too hot but then freezing cold?
Well, the thing is, I really like Hot Pockets, so I'm going to take a quick bite of it. It's really hot. My tongue is feeling cold and hot at the same time. I don't understand.
It's a little
Who
too
runs
good.
this company?
You know what my favorite ones I've seen recently were, though? It was the Joe Rogan. It was the Trump on Joe Rogan. And my phone. I have a couple of them saved.
What, quotes?
Yeah, the fake ones.
Oh.
Oh boy, where were they?
Because
Also, have you guys seen the Ultimate YouTuber Gay Sex Chart? Because I'm on it.
Yeah, we haven't seen it, but we've heard you talk about it.
Yeah, that was a thing that I had to see. Where are they? Did they leave? Oh no, here we go. All right, Ray. So the conquest of Gaul was justified because the Gauls are sick people, horrible tribes, Joe. They sacked Rome, beautiful city destroyed, the sword on the scale, Joe. Woe to the vanquished. Have you heard this? I got one more. Congolese migrants, they're coming here for free. Have you heard this? It's called Congolese migrant taxpayer sex change surgeries. Kamala, they call her Kamala. I call her stupid, low IQ, boxed wine lady. Anyway, they call her Kamala, and she is paying for Congolese migrant sex changes so they can play girls' high school field hockey. But really, they're boys. No, it's true. You can look it up, and we're going to stop it. Fake Trump quotes from the Joe Rogan interview
Here's the problem.
that are indistinguishable from real Trump quotes.
They could have been real.
Like, my favorites, yeah, it was the one where it was, you know, the Biden Trump debate, and it's Biden, the Biden impression is like, and Trump is like, there are 10 million Guatemalans attacking the Lincoln Memorial right now.
And both of them are accurate.
Exactly. The full list of promises is in the hashtag polls channel. Oh no. And finally, Fried Foreskins for $4.99 said, you're going to have to cover my case cause I'm getting lost in your eyes.
I wonder how much of the ending of this episode will remain.
I don't think anything from the end of this episode was particularly awful.
No, people will get mad. Hang on.
We made fun of everybody. It's okay if you make fun of everybody. What are you looking at?
Greetings from Parkau, is it Berlin?
Where are you looking?
Last regular chat.
Paraku Benin.
Dude, where is that? Did you try and say Berlin?
No, Benin's a real country, Aiden. Benin's a country in Africa.
There's no way you're actually
okay,
there right
so
now.
here's my favorite thing. You're like, oh no, Aiden's Trump impressions about Congolese migrant sex change surgeries are gonna get us canceled. And then you just culturally erased an entire African country.
Me being ignorant to a country in Africa is just me being an idiot. At least that's passable for bad education systems.
But no, the chart, the chart, my favorite thing about it is it's top, bottom, dom, sub.
Yeah.
I am very close to the middle line. So I'm, kind of, verse, I guess is what they call it in the community.
Wait, what?
I think so. Or a switch or whatever. I don't know. Whatever.
Did you say verse?
Yeah, I've heard that one.
Oh, I'm
Like
chorus.
versatile. What? Okay, anyway.
I just went for the opposite of whatever the hell you were saying.
Okay. But I am like pretty far over to the dom side, and I was okay with this, right? Steven is about halfway up the top line on the line, so he goes either way, Do you want to know where they put Wendigoon?
I'm gonna be shocked. I know it.
Bottom sub, midway to the left.
I
At the bottom.
They definitely did it just to spite him. They were just like,
don't
this would be
think so.
hilarious.
But I saw that, I was like, oh boy, this poor man. Okay. Yeah, Alex Corp goes, the fact they put Wendigoon in bottom sub is evil before I even said it.
Yeah, exactly. They're definitely just trying to mess with him.
But all right. And Gom said, what happened to Glass of Water from the early days? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess she got
She
busy.
just kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
But, with all that said,
Yeah, I gotta go make my girlfriend some soup.
soup. You gotta
Yeah,
go.
I gotta hate giant.
Okay, yeah. You gotta hate Giant?
Hit.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, anyway.
Harder than Tyson hit anybody. It's okay. He held back. There's like several videos where he hits Jake like once and Jake almost falls over, and then he like pulls his punches for a solid 2 minutes after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all very much for being here. It means a lot to us.
Why'd you say it like that?
It does.
No, it does. But you were like, it means a lot to us.
It means a lot to us. Well, anyway, point is, if you enjoyed the stream, hit the like button, like hawk Tua and spit on that thing, as the kids say.
check out History Tua coming to you in 2025.
History to indeed. What did you call it during one of the clacky things?
History Unchained.
No, I'm talking about the other thing.
History Tua.
No, the other thing.
Oh, History Unclipped.
Nope, the other thing.
A version of.
Oh,
Unclipped.
yes, that one. Okay,
Yeah, I don't want to say the actual word. Yeah.
It's history uncircumcised. That's what he said.
All right. There we go. I was just looking for different uns to say.
Yep.
Did you end the show?
No, I was trying to hit the. I thought it would be funny if I had said it's history uncircumcised and then just switch to the ending screen.
Yeah.
But I forgot that we were in the
studio mode.
So I didn't.
Yeah, check us out on Patreon for that. Oh yeah, that's the thing. Is one of what we're doing is so there's the History Unhinged first part of the show.
Yes.
And then like a number of our favorite shows online, we do the last 30 minutes or so. Sometimes it runs a bit longer than that on Patreon. So
The part where we get really silly.
yes, answering questions like was the British Empire justified, or what was the worst and least effective dictator in history.
Yeah.
That was a fun one.
That's a fun episode, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like,
They were all a lot of laughs, for sure.
these are going to be great.
Yeah, it should be a really fun time. So look out for that coming out on the channel, which was formerly the History.
I accidentally hit the wrong button.
This is why I sit in that chair.
This is why you sit in this chair. Would you like to finish what you were saying?
Yeah. Essentially, so the channel formerly was History Hut, will now be called History Unhinged. And if you want to see those last moments, about 30 to 60 minutes of the show, look out for the History Unhinged Patreon. They will be going up on there.
It's true.
Deciding the payment structure on that, maybe it'll depend on how unhinged we get on Patreon. Steven has affectionately begun calling that last section of the show the shit show. So should be fun. That should be a good indicator. We have no idea what we're doing, but we certainly had a lot of fun doing it. And look out for this week's video because it is on
the land between the lakes, the massacre that occurred there or didn't occur there.
If you want to find out,
Yeah.
watch on Friday.
Yeah. I think you guys are actually going to be surprised at the conclusions in that video. Yeah, if you've heard the story before, I think you will be very surprised about the conclusion.
Do you want to give a hint to what it's about?
The land between the lakes.
I meant more specifically what the conclusions may or may not be. To give them a little hint,
Well, why would I tell them that?
a little spice,
Why would I tell them that?
teaser.
People say it's a dog man.
There we go. But is it? Only one way to find out. All right. Thanks for stopping by. We love y'all. Thanks so much for allowing us to achieve our dreams. We hope that we make the journey worth it. It's
Thanks,
true.
guys. I know it was just so nonchalant. You're like, thanks for letting us achieve our dreams. Bye.
Well, I mean, like,
All right, I know. All right.
Okay, so
Oh boy.
I
Okay.
don't want to get too deep with it.
Yeah. No, Alex, I will be off of hiatus. I will be streaming on Friday. What? And I have to do my job. I'll see you guys Friday.